And hello again. Welcome back to the Japan Game Junk podcast. So today I'll be going over a bit of stuff that I found at a hard-off store in Kitamoto city of Saitama. This is kind of I don't want to say nondescript, but kind of north-central Saitama. There are quite a few cities that just kind of blend together, and they feel suburban, and yeah, they seem nice enough, but they all have a bit of the same feel to them. Anyway, Kitamoto does have a hard-off store, and I did visit there on the 19th of May of 2024. So, let's get into what's in store. So, the first thing I noticed was that there is a kind of controller, a game controller, which is really, really popular in Japan for the PlayStation systems. It's called a Nakon. It's from a company called Revolution Unlimited, and it's their Pro controller. And the Nakon is usually very, very expensive in the more than 10,000 yen range. But on this day at this hard off, in their display case, they had a controller that was marked as can be used with no problem, and but the stick they're a bit loose, so they don't feel as easy. They don't feel as controlling as others. But it had all the accessories and a case, and so it was 4,000 yen, which I would think is a very good deal, as long as you don't need your sticks to center completely when you're using them. Something else I found that was incredibly interesting was for 2,500 yen, there was a board game that was, it's called Jump Up on the Green Hill, which was from the first Sonic the Hedgehog. And it's a board game and CD, including music from Dreams Come True, which was a fairly popular Japanese pop group, singing against the Green Hill Zone music from Sonic the Hedgehog. So that CD and board game in a big box. These were in a very nice looking box as well, with the Dreams Come True male and female singers and caricature along with Sonic on the cover for 2,500 yen. I was kind of tempted to get it, but I don't really have anyone I know who wants to play a board game, so anyway, maybe in the future if I find it cheaply. Let's see what else. There was a Hudson Famicom controller with a huge, oversized, joystick, thumb-sized joystick. And it had turbo controls for the A and B. A very interesting controller, just by itself, no box, and 3,000 yen. If I needed a Famicom controller, I was kind of tempted by this. It looked very interesting. And, Hudson makes some fun stuff. Next was really interesting. There were three, all for 2,500 yen each, called Hacker Raw discs. So these are blank discs for the Famicom disk system, because the Famicom disk system did not use standard 3.5-inch floppies. The discs were slightly smaller, and so these were blank discs that could be used by hobbyists to make their Famicom disk system games. And they're pretty rare, hard to find, especially three of them being hard to find. But 2,500 yen each. If I had any way to use them, I probably would have bought one just to play around with it. But indeed, I cannot program, for anything, let alone for the Famicom disk system. Also something that was here that I haven't seen at any other hard-off store. Big packages of just kind of random Super Famicom games. 10 games for 1,500 yen. Now, of course, at almost every hard-off, you can get junk Super Famicom games for about 100 yen each. So this comes up to 150 yen each. And so that's not such a great deal. Plus, you can see the games in the pack. And almost all of them are, sports games or pachinko games or whatever. So yeah, what can I say? They're, I don't know who they're for. But they were there, here at this Kitamoto store. 1,500 for a pack of 10, and I guess they look like they're in better condition than junk, so that's something, I guess. Just a moment. My apologies. As you can hear, hopefully I don't have it forever, but I've had this remnants of bronchitis for several weeks now, so yeah, it makes everything sound wonderful. Next up is something that I was very, very tempted to get because I really want to get this at some point, but advanced variable GO, advanced VG for the the PC Engine CD-ROM. This is a female character fighting game, which has some, cute girls in it, and here it was the disc by itself. No manual, no insert for the CD case, for 2,500 yen, and for a game that's typically 4,000 yen at the cheapest. This was, very much a temptation, but if I was going to be paying that much, I might as well just pay a bit more to have the complete version. Also, what was very interesting was for 2,000 yen, a Game Boy Color strap. It's a promotional item, and it's a little strap that you kind of hook into your Game Boy Color. If you recall, the Game Boy Color has a little bit of a strap hole in it. And yeah, it's just like a little purple Game Boy Color with, a Game Boy Color logo, transparent purple strap attached to it. It was 2,000 yen, so yeah. If you want to complete your Game Boy Color promotional item accessory collection, then there you go. That's something that you can pick up there in the store. Also, was an LCD solar-powered game from Bandai, a Kessen U-boat, so the war-fighting U-boat game. That's an LCD game powered by the sun. So that's wonderful. One thing that I really wanted to have was a custom Game Boy Pocket. This is a Game Boy Pocket that was custom modded to have a pure white body, which looks beautiful, and an IPS color screen. So basically it makes it into a Game Boy, I'm not sure if it's mixed into a Game Boy Color, but it would in fact play the, how they have the Game Boy cartridges. They could be colorized in some way. And for 15,000 yen, you could have this very, very well done modded Game Boy Pocket. Something I thought was interesting was the Sega Genesis Mini. And, of course, in Japan it is the Mega Drive, but the mini systems are popular all over the world, and so this was an import from North America. And it was being sold complete in box for 32,000 yen. It's a lot of scratch for a little mini Sega Genesis. Also, a lot of scratch was for 40,000 yen, a unit only of the PC Engine GT, again called the Turbo Express outside Japan. The portable PC Engine system, 40,000 yen. Also, I saw the most expensive PSP Go ever for 80,000 yen. Even now when the yen is so weak, that's over $500. Just a boxed white PSP Go. I have no idea why these things are so expensive now, but there you go. Also, kind of something I've never seen in Japan before, but an Atari computer system. So this was the Atari 1040 STE, computer and game system. And it was a 35,000 yen unit only, so hope you have some software, hope you have some proper cables. Another system that's kind of on the rarer side, but not honestly so sought after, is the Neo Geo CD front-loading unit. So this was the first release, and it has a front-loading tray, a CD tray, which was very prone to breaking. So, this one's marked as working, but obviously, it could break at any time. Still, if you want to have it, go to the Kitamoto store, and it's 40,000 yen. Something kind of interesting I found was the Pac-Man small gaming chair. It's a little gaming chair you put on the floor, and you sit on the floor, and it has a very adjustable back for your gaming comfort. So it also is covered with the Pac-Man logo and, the Pac-Man field on the seat. And this is a chair you can buy new in the Don Quixote variety discount store in Japan for 4,000 yen. Here it was being sold used for 5,000 yen. So, very bold move of the hard-off people. Then something I've never seen before, actually, is the Puta Junior. So this is the Puta game console / computer. This is the smaller version that came out later on cheaply, being sold new at 19,800 yen. Now being sold complete in box at 27,000 yen. So, yeah, that inflation will get you. Also, what I thought was actually pretty nice was the Beat Shock 3D sound system, limited edition with Final Fantasy X colors for the PS2, for 3,500 yen complete, and it was a heavy box. It felt like it would have some great sound, very, very, very sturdy speakers to plug into your PS2. So, kind of tempted by them, but I already have a decent enough sound system to plug my systems into. Something else that I thought would have been really great had I had faith that it would work, because it was untested, was for 20,000 yen, a Panasonic MSX2, including a floppy disk drive that plugs into the cassette port. And if you know anything about the MSX, now there are many, many more surviving and cheaper floppy disk games than cartridge games. So I've always wanted to have a nice floppy disk drive, but without the testing to make sure it works, I didn't want to get this for the 20,000 yen. Separately to purchase, I don't know why it was not bundled, but there was also a dot matrix printer that was also from Panasonic. It looks like it matched the system perfectly, so they were just being sold separately. Also, something that I had before that I thought was actually pretty fun was the Guitar Hero for Nintendo DS, which includes the game as well as the guitar controller, the cord controller, which plugs into the controller port. The Game Boy Advance port on the original Fat DS. It is not compatible with any other DS because of the shape of it. So yeah, I have had this before. It's a pretty fun game, and here it was being sold complete for only 2,000 yen, which is a pretty decent deal these days. And yeah, the last thing that I noticed that I would want to go over was the Sword M5 Pro computer, which included a game. That's all it included. But this is a computer that was released in 1983 for 40,000 yen. And it was one of the first computers that had real coloring. How do I put this? Like you get like custom computers, right? Like they had the white model, the black model, or whatever. Anyway, this included the game, like I mentioned, but otherwise it didn't include any cables. And I'm guessing it's fairly rare because it was 60,000 yen. Anyway, this store in Kitamoto, every time I've gone, I have found some stuff there that I've liked. And yeah, I think it's very, very worthwhile to go. There's no way to go without a car, but if you're ever in the area, yeah, the hard-off / off house in Kitamoto city of Saitama. It's a great place to find little treasures. So, anyway, thanks so much for listening, especially with my very problematic voice, and I hope you're having a great day. Thanks again, and be smiling. You're a wonderful person. Bye-bye.